I heard you say it, I'm not sure.
All right, hi everybody. It is Friday afternoon on June the 6th as we are tracking storms across the Tennessee Valley. I wanted to give you sort of a brief update on what's happening out there for the 4 o'clock hour as you're watching this live. If you're watching it recorded, again, this is during the 4 o'clock hour of the afternoon on Friday. And then we'll break away and, of course, do our News Channel 9 broadcast from 5, 5:30, and 6. And with that, you can also watch streaming at newschannel9.com. A lot going on this afternoon. You can see a lot starting to show up and percolate on the radar. In fact, a new warning, severe thunderstorm warning just issued for Jackson County. So things are kind of moving rather quickly here. Showers north of the city, showers back to the west. And I really think that if you have evening plans, you're going to have to navigate around these storms. And the problem here is, like we talked about the past several days, the reason why we are storm alert is because some of these storms could reach severe levels. Some of those with damaging wind gusts, some with hail, and of course, heavy downpours of rain and lightning, very common. And the same thing is going to occur for tomorrow, Saturday. Let me stress, I don't see Saturday as an all-day rain. I think Saturday is much like today. There'll be times you can go to the lake, go to the pool, do outdoor activities. However, you need to stay alert and aware. Keep that Storm Track 9 app handy and watch for storms developing, because like today, some of the storms tomorrow afternoon and into the evening at times could become severe, but otherwise a partly sunny sky. So let's get right to it. Let's talk about where that newest warning is there for Jackson County. And yes, they do have it broadcasting on the air. We always have that crawl going, so you can see those alerts out there. Try to keep you posted on every platform here. But again, let me minimize myself here a bit. I'll show you the radar a little bit better. We'll switch positions there, and there we go. All right. So again, we've got the scattered storms north and off to the west. 2 warnings starting to pop up, one over Jackson County. This is for a storm still to the west of Scottsboro, but that is a new severe thunderstorm warning there. That's going to be out until 5:15 Eastern, 4:15 Central. And again, 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts with that. And it's moving off to the east at about 35. So pretty decent clip there. So areas impacted by that could also include areas like Scottsboro, Fort Payne, Rainsville, Henniger, and Stevenson. So it eventually could get into parts of DeKalb County, and that's why DeKalb is also in part of that warning for us. So it's for Jackson and part of DeKalb County there until 5:15 Eastern time. Again, main threat with that, so damaging wind gusts. We'll take a closer look and track it for you there in a second. Other storms that are into Franklin and northern Jackson County, below severe levels, but again, an advisory there. That particular line is moving to the east, so be aware of Marion County. That's advisory out to 4:45 Eastern, 3:45 Central. Wind gust potential upwards of around 40 miles an hour, even some pea-sized hail possible with that. And let's go to the north a second, because even though around the city, not much happening, which is good for the rush hour. However, during the rush hour, some of these are going to start moving in. So we got to watch that carefully. North of the city, parts of Ray, Bledsoe, and back through Meigs, and northern parts of McMinn, just west of Athens. Scattered showers there. There is an advisory in and around Spring City, which stretches across those 3 counties there. Again, this is a below severe level advisory, but it does mean that a few storms may provide some gust upwards of 40. And again, some pea-sized hail, not impossible. Also, watch out for the lightning risk. And with so many outdoor activities going on, I say so often, when thunder roars, you head indoors. Take that lightning threat very seriously. I know when we talk about severe storms, we tend to focus on the hail risk or the damaging wind risk. Lightning's the biggest killer. And lightning happens more often with storms, and you got to be safe from that. Okay? And if we zoom out just a bit, you can see there are more storms here starting to develop, especially right along the I-65 corridor. Got one other warning now. I just showed you over Frank. Now it's become a warning for Franklin County. And so many right along the I-65 corridor. So between where we are now, which is approaching 4:15 Eastern, I would say through at least mid-evening, these off and on scatter storms are going to be with us. Main threats, again, damaging wind gust. You know, an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out ever when you deal with storms like this, but their higher likelihood is at a damaging wind gust. But as always, we are monitoring that. Let's go back to Franklin County, where that just became a warning there for the same storm we just showed you. It's there just to the west of Sherwood, just to the southwest of Swanee. The advisory was out until 4:15 or 5:15. Now the warning's out till 5:15 Central Time. And again, 60-mile-an-hour gusts with that, heavy downpours of rain, and again, a lightning risk. That is also moving east at 25. So let's track that as it draws closer into Marion County. Let's pause it for a second. We're going to track this line, which stretches into Jackson. So we're tracking the leading edge of this line, which is a bit stronger here. This gives you a kind of an estimated timeline here. Notice a lot of these are in Central Time because it's still just across the timeline there. So Stevenson around 3:44 Central. That's 4:44 Eastern. South Pittsburgh not under the advisory yet, but keep in mind that line of storms coming your way. Just after the top of the hour, 4:02 Central, 5:02 Eastern, and on toward Long Island around 4:06 Central Time. But eventually it'll be near during the 5 o'clock hour, getting into the Eastern Time Zone area and affecting more areas like Marion, Dade, and eventually Hamilton during the 5 o'clock hour. This line coming in. Predominantly a straight line wind gust and some heavy downpours of rain slowing down traffic and quite a bit of lightning. And we'll track this other line here. This one's moving a little bit faster. This is going to be for Jackson and DeKalb County. And again, approximate timeline. These are all Central Time. Scottsboro, 3:40 Central. Sylvania, around 4 o'clock Central, 5 Eastern. And Henniger, around 4:07 Central Time. So this line moving just a little bit faster there. And again, other warnings starting to show up along that line west of Huntsville, actually just northwest of Huntsville, near Athens and across the Tennessee state line to Fayetteville. And that's where these storms here are starting to get a little bit stronger, say from Nashville southward to Huntsville. And there's the movement over the past hour, kind of an east-northeast movement. So far, these, or the northern part of the viewing area, not severe, but again, we'll keep an eye on that. It's awfully hot and humid out there, but we anticipated that. We got the 90. And so, that heat humidity, there's a lot of fuel out there for these to feed off of. Let's expand the view just a little bit. And you can see the overall 3-hour movement of all of this. Here's the scatter storms we're watching for the next few hours. A general lift off to the north and east a bit. So we'll see if anything develops from this flank right there. If that does, then it may keep the threat there a little bit longer into the late evening hours. But overall, what's going to be the problem for the weekend is going to be this front, which is going to settle down to the southeast just a bit and stall, drop an anchor. And again, it doesn't mean all day rain tomorrow. You'll see a percentage chance of storms, but it's just like today. Today was partly sunny. You could go outside and enjoy yourself. I mean, I got some yard work done today and could have gone for a run, but I had storms to track, so I couldn't do that, but could have. So you can do some outdoor activities tomorrow, same way. But you start getting into the heating of the day, late afternoon and evening, you need to stay alert and stay aware. So same thing tomorrow. I think by Sunday, lesser of a severe threat and fewer showers. All right. So here's the overall threat level. This takes us through tonight, overall level 2 through tonight. And it's not going to change much tomorrow. Tomorrow's about the same way. So it's a level 2 threat. The breakdown shows damaging wind gusts being the main threat factor, about a 15% chance area wide, a little bit less farther east with time. Most of this is during the evening, lesser of a chance overnight. Tornado risk has expanded east just a little bit. This doesn't surprise me. If you were watching the broadcast yesterday, I mentioned that, it's low, but when you deal with severe storms, you always have to keep in mind, there's always going to be that low percentage chance. So even areas not covered by the 2%, there's always that small percentage chance, but it is small. That's why the greater threat level is that of damaging wind gusts. A little bit higher for that tornado threat to the west along the 65 corridor from, say, Huntsville to, north of Huntsville to about the Nashville area. Hail threat, again, it's a low-end risk, but again, when you deal with severe storms like this, there's not as much dry air aloft like we had 3 weeks ago. This is more of a hot, humid air mass, so the chance of very large hail like we had a few weeks ago is a little bit lower, but reaching 1-inch diameter, about the size of a quarter, not impossible. But pea-size, quarter size will be very common with some of these storms starting to develop. Now, moving toward tomorrow. Again, this is tomorrow's threat level for mainly, again, afternoon and evening locally. Most of our viewing area level 2. But notice South DeKalb County, Alabama, and south, this may expand with time. They're at that enhanced level. So a little more energy to deal with, especially south of the city tomorrow. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that for the afternoon and evening hours. Again, your percentage chance of damaging wind gust is also there at 15%. I need to erase that. But 15% chance here, area-wide, a little bit higher, southern parts of DeKalb County gets in that 30% range. And the same thing again, for Saturday afternoon and evening, there's that low-end tornado risk. That chance is going to be ever present anytime you deal with severe storms. So it's the low-end chance. It's not zero, but it is a low chance compared to the damaging wind risk. And the same thing for hail chance tomorrow, about the size of a quarter, pea-size to a quarter. That's going to be pretty common with storms like that again. So here's our high-res model taking us through the evening hours. It shows the cluster of storms east starting to move, west, moving east. So this is around 7:45, 8 o'clock. You've got those scattered storms moving by, the ones that are just west of Marion County now. So between the 5 o'clock hour to about 8 o'clock, it'll make its way across the viewing area very slowly. And then we'll keep an eye on another potential late evening chance. If these develop, then it might pose, again, some storms moving by between 10 and midnight Eastern. But then after midnight, things kind of die down a bit. So it's predominantly this evening, early evening. The late evening is a bit more conditional if things start to calm down a little bit. And then overnight, things do calm down considerably. So that's the high-res model opinion. Here's our future track model. I think it's a little off because it's not accounting for what's already out there. And this model runs every 3 hours. The high-res model goes every hour. Okay, so it's a little more accurate on the future track. But this tends to favor the overall chance. There still could be a chance late evening, but around 1 a.m., everything starts to move out. I'm showing you this future track for tomorrow's chance. I'll be back up again. This is tomorrow morning. So from the morning hours tomorrow to about midday, I put a pause point there, to about early afternoon. There's not much going on. So the first half of the day, pretty good for outdoor activities. But you get to the early to mid stage of the afternoon, say, there you go, 1, 2 o'clock. Yeah, some scattered storms are possible. Okay. So we'll keep an eye on that for mid to late afternoon tomorrow. It's not all day. And then those move out, and then it's partly sunny again. And temperatures heat right back up into the early evening. So it's not lasting all day or all night. But notice Saturday evening, overnight, another chance of storms moves on by. So it's periodic. But again, Saturday, you can do some outdoor activities, but do it cautiously and keep in mind you're going to have to navigate around some storms at times. Sunday, chance of showers early, but really the rest of the day, Sunday, not bad. Mid-afternoon, partly sunny, mid-80s. Looks pretty good, kind of breezy on Sunday. So the weekend, not bad overall. Not as bad as I think it was a couple of weekends ago. But at times some storms can develop. And the reason why we have these threat levels showing you this is because some of those storms could reach those levels of being severe. So just to show you the breakdown of tomorrow, and I'll go back to the radar coming up here shortly. Again, for your Saturday, it starts partly sunny and it really heats up. Mid-80s. Again, you can do some outdoor activities into the early afternoon, but say early mid-afternoon, a storm is possible on a scattered basis. Not everywhere all at once, but some of those could be severe. Same thing for later on into Saturday night. And if you watch our broadcast tonight, I'll be emphasizing that going through the weekend. So going back to the radar view, any moment now. Boom, there it is. We have 2 warnings, actually 3. They've expanded it over Jackson County. Here's the overall loop. The storms north of the city, not too bad. You got some wind gusts of 40. You got that lightning threat, which is dangerous enough. And a few stronger storms coming out of Van Buren. These are all moving east-northeast. Then you got these now 3 warnings lining up for the same line, which stretches south and west of Swanee to just east of Huntsville, just west of Scottsboro. And it's got 3 separate severe thunderstorm warnings along that line. So here we go. If we take a look at it, and hope you can see that okay. Sometimes these warnings obscure the radar view. Tell you what I'll do. You can see the warnings right here. Okay. Let's note each one. Then we'll take a look inside each one here. So you got this severe thunderstorm warning out to 5:15, kind of elongated, kind of an L-shaped warning there, which extends most of northern Jackson County. And again, the main threat level there is for that and damaging wind gusts up to 60 and pea-size hail. And then the southern part of Jackson and central DeKalb County, this is out, same thing, till 5:15 Eastern, 4:15 Central for the same threat level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the warnings off for a second. And you can see the radar view a little bit better. Does that help out? All right, so we've got the main line right here. There's one little storm already percolating right there near Bridgeport. So Bridgeport to South Pittsburgh, you're already going to get a few showers coming in. The real rougher stuff is back here. This is the stronger line here, and it does extend to just southwest of Swanee. So let's take a look at the velocity scan inside here. We'll take a look at the winds. And you can see it's more straight line winds. So it's kind of paralleling the line. So you got some strong winds coming in just southwest of Swanee, which will be coming up the mountain there. So be aware of that near Swanee. And we're going to move this scope down along. Again, this is still mainly straight line. You can see toward and away from the radar. So it's more of a straight line winds right there. And that's in northern Jackson County. And put this back into range just a little bit. And the same thing, strong gust right there into western Jackson County. So Scottsboro, right along 72, get ready for some strong gusts coming your way with that. Now, to be more specific with that, we'll just go to the velocity scan itself. We'll show you some of the above surface wind speeds there. And we'll go here into this area near Winchester. So here's some gusts up around 40, just above the surface. And probably a little bit stronger. But there's that potential for about up to 60 miles an hour with some of those gusts. So an individual gust in that pocket. Let's see if I can isolate one of those a little bit better. Yeah, it's up to around 50. So it does fluctuate. It's not the entire storm, but at times 40 to 50 miles an hour, getting close to severe levels. So that is now moving, again, east-northeast into eastern parts of Franklin and bordering areas of Grundy and Marion. Do be aware of that. Let's move south a bit into northern Jackson, just to the east of Stevenson. Again, same thing. These dark reds indicate some pretty strong winds. That's 35. Let's check a few other pockets there. 36. So not every gust is severe, but you start getting close to the high top radar site, like right here. This is where the high top radar is. It starts to obscure some of that. So we'll wait and see if it moves to the east a little bit. And the same thing down here in western parts of Jackson County, southwest of Skyline, and just northwest of Scottsboro. Some of these gusts right there. Yeah, about 60. So about 60 mile an hour gusts. Those are pretty powerful there. That's the reason why those warnings are out for that part of Jackson County. So pretty strong gusts there. Let's move to the storms here. Yeah, little broad rotation with that one. It's in right there in Van Buren County. We'll keep an eye on that near Welchland, southwest of Spencer. There is an advisory out there, not a warning, but it's, we'll keep an eye on that. Not every rotating storm causes a problem, but keep an eye on that. Just from a velocity scan, little rotation there. That advisory for that storm in Van Buren out till 4:45 Eastern, roughly the next 17 minutes. So we'll keep an eye on that with some gusts upwards of 50 to 55 and penny-size hail. But again, that's, that raises an eyebrow there. But we'll watch that for Van Buren, heads up in Bledsoe County. So watch that move to the east. Now we'll go back to reflectivity. As far as other watches ongoing right now, let me show you that real quickly here. There is a tornado watch out for parts of Middle Tennessee. Again, you can see that the storms are far outpacing this watch area. So they've already gone east of I-65, but the main tornado watch is back here. This was out, I believe, till 9 Eastern. Yeah, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. So we'll see if there's any expansion with time or even a severe thunderstorm watch. These are aviation warnings as the storms are approaching the Huntsville airport. That's what that represents there. Just FYI. So again, we've got 3 ongoing warnings. Well, there's one little shower. It's not far from us right now. This is not a severe storm. North of the city, over near Riverside Park. all along the Riverwalk. Here's the dam right here. So Hickson, you have a shower come your way. See how quickly that just sort of pops up. So it's going to be approaching Hickson, Chickamauga Dam area, eventually where we are near Harrison. So got a good downpour coming our way. That's not severe though, but it does represent the lift on the leading edge of this line of showers and storms. Here are the others across Dayton to Spring City and Decatur. These are non-severe, but they're very noisy with a lot of lightning and heavy downpours of rain. Moving to the east. And then we'll keep an eye on that one cell there that had that, the velocity scan looked a little suspicious. We'll watch that for Van Buren County. But heads up in Bledsoe is that particular cell right there. It continues moving its way to the east. And now let's go where the warnings are, okay? And notice they just popped an advisory for Marion County in anticipation of this warned line getting closer. Again, this might get upgraded to a warning, but this is a special weather statement by the National Weather Service. It's out till 5:15 Eastern, 4:15 Central. Typically your no alert ready does not go off for these statements. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I just want to let you know that in case your radio didn't go off. This is for wind gusts up to 50 and pea-size hail with these storms moving to the east at 30 miles an hour. We'll do another track here coming on momentarily. But we've got 3 warnings. This one out till 5:15. It's an L-shaped warning here. And the one to the south over parts of Jackson and DeKalb County, likewise out till 5:15 as well as it moves to the east. A little bit stronger here. Heads up in Scottsboro. Cousin Annie, if you're watching, you living there in Scottsboro, you're doing any gardening, you get inside. You're welcome. A lot of lightning with that one. All right, we'll track this line here. This is the leading edge. Now keep in mind, I'm going to track this line right here. There is already a cell near Bridgeport moving towards South Pittsburgh. So South Pittsburgh, you're already going to be getting wet, but I'm going to track this line right here as it moves to the east. So here we go. This will take us through the 4:30 to 5 o'clock hour. So Swanee around 3:33 Central. That's roughly the next minute. You're probably already feeling the breeze now coming up on the backside there of the mountain. South Pittsburgh, you're going to be getting some showers any minute, but this line will be approaching South Pitt with the accompanying wind and threat of a little bit of hail at the top of the hour, 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central, and as far east potentially as Trenton by around 5:27. So heads up in Dade and neighboring areas of Marion counties that moves to the east. Let's track this line farther south. I'm hearing the rain on the rooftop now with that shower we just showed you a few moments ago. This line moving east a little faster at 35. So it could go as far east as maybe Southern Walker, Southern Dade between now and 5:30. But you got Pisgah around 3:52 Central, Scottsboro 3:37. So in the next 5 minutes, that one's going to be bearing down on you. And this one does already have, as we've shown in the velocity scan, you got wind gusts upwards of 60 with that potentially as it moves on through. But also these little cells here could have gust potential 50 to 60, reaching those severe levels as they move to the east.
Another deputy, 2 sergeants were suspended without pay.
And this shows you the movement over the past hour. Several other special weather statements starting to develop back in here. Just letting you know these are starting to fire up. Let me see if there's an update from the Storm Prediction Center here. I believe there is. Check it on this other screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there is. So looking at the latest Storm Prediction Center update, they put it at just under 50% chance of our area going under a watch. But even without a watch, storms are happening. So they're out there already. So there's a chance they might cover the area of the watch, but we've already got storms ongoing. But you got this cluster of storms here, that line lining up along I-65, and then the storms north of the city now. northern parts of our viewing area, I should say. And we've got downpours. You can probably hear the rain on the rooftop now from this little cell that's moving across anywhere from the river park to about the Chickamauga Dam area and near Harrison. But that's not severe, just good old downpour. If we expand the view a little bit more, a couple of things to note. So for the early evening, which is now through early evening, it is going to be this cluster of storms here. That's going to move to the east-northeast between now and 8 o'clock. So for the next 3 hours, we're going to have this move from the southwest to northeast locally. So it's got to cover our viewing area. So heads up, this will be moving through. What we're going to watch for late evening is any of this starting to develop here. Does this zapping energy from here? We have to wait and see, but it'll be this particular area right here. We start watching this. If any storms flank off of this, if there's a kind of a southern flank to that line, if that does, that would be more toward mid to late evening. Okay. And I think once we get past midnight, all this moves out. So it's not an all night thing. So this is currently, we're just now getting the leading edge of this particular line. And that'll take us to the early to mid stage of the evening. And then mid to late evening is conditional. That means if there's any energy left, which there could be, that line could move on by to the southeast. Okay. All right. Again, got a good downpour around the city right now, just north of the city. Right where we are, right where 153 meets, crosses the dam. 153 and Bonnie Oaks right in here. So we're getting the downpour, no lightning yet. So from east side of the city, across the dam into Hickson, very busy this time of day. That's some slow traffic there. So everybody, please be careful driving. And that'll just keep moving east-northeast. So Ottawa, you're going to have a downpour move your way, Harrison, and eventually on toward parts of Bradley County. But again, it's not a severe cell, just one that's soaking an area with heavy traffic. Let me show you again inside this storm near Scottsboro. This one had some strong wind gust potential. Yeah, you can see right in here. We'll pause the radar. Right in here, pockets of very strong winds. These are kind of moving straight line winds here, but tap into that light blue and green. That's represents of 50 miles an hour. 50 mile an hour gust possible there. And your Swanee, let's take a look at this one. That one's kind of getting outside the polygon there, but so heads up in all areas in your Swanee and eventually toward Mount Eagle as that moves in. Okay, you see some pockets of stronger gust here. We'll take a look just to give an example right in here. Gust up to 50. And sometimes when it goes up slope the mountain there, it can accelerate a little bit. These are all just above the surface, so you got some strong gusts coming in. These are more appear to be straight line. Okay. But that's moving east-northeast pretty quickly. So I'd say in the next 15, 20 minutes, easily in the next 5 to 10 minutes, Mount Eagle, but heads up in Tracy City and Pelham, right along Highway 41 and I-24. That's going to start slowing traffic down. Let's take a look at these just from a velocity point of view. Bridgeport to Scottsboro. This is a non-severe cell. You're under a warning, but that's not the warned part of the storm. That's not too windy yet with that. This other line here, there are some gusts with it. You can see the dark red spreading out there, kind of at a curved motion there. Okay, as that line advances east. So it's got some pockets of wind gusts with it. We'll tap into some of these lighter reds, 30. Let's see if we need a higher one, 30 to 40. We'll go up here into Franklin. So about 30 to 40 in those areas possible. Again, a radar estimate may be different from what you feel at the ground. Then, of course, the stronger gusts were with these moving eastward, heading towards Scottsboro. So these warnings out till 5:15 Eastern. But heads up in South Pittsburgh, Marion, and parts of Grundy as this particular cell near Swanee starts making its way east-northeast. It does have some strong gusts with it, a lot of lightning with it, heavy rain as well. That'll be crossing 41 and 24 shortly. And so southern Grundy and northern Marion heads up for that. South Pittsburgh, a non-severe cell, but you're getting some downpours now. Thanks everybody for watching, taking a look at some of the comments here. I've had to stare at the radar, but hello, Cynthia, Sharon. Hello, Pierre. Hello, David. Hello, Don. Hey, Mandy. Hey, Clay. I will tell. Olivia, you said hello. Thank you, sir. Hello, Peggy, watching from Lewis Chapel, Sequatchie County. Hey, Martha. Hey, Tina. All right. So again, folks, we'll break away from here on this feed in about the next 5 to 10 minutes. And then you can still watch on your mobile device streaming at newschannel9.com. Just click the live button. And for the next 90 minutes, it'll be streaming live there. And we'll probably jump back on this stream. So we have to jump across streams here just a little bit, but we got you covered every step of the way through the night. Okay. Let's go north of the city a second. These are non-severe cells, but nevertheless still dangerous with a lightning threat. So the thunder roars, get indoors. Okay. A lot of lightning north of Decatur, 10 Mile over to Dayton. So right along the Ray, Meigs County line. Again, these are right along Tennessee Highway 30, just east of 20, we're right along 27, just east of 27, and approaching 58 near Decatur and Meigs County. Not severe, but heavy rain, lightning, just time to get inside. Same thing near Athens, some downpours, Athens and Iota, but again, not of a severe nature. And let me go back and check on this one. Remember we had a little bit of, looked a little, had a little broad rotation with this one in Van Buren County. Let's see if it still has that. Well, not as bad. Right in here, but not as bad. But still, you could have a wind gust up to 50 there in Van Buren. So neighboring portions of Bledsoe County over to Fall Creek Falls. You got a storm coming your way. Just time to get inside and let this storm pass by. Here's that non-severe cell in the city, but or northeast of the city now, but spreading heavy rain right over us where we are. Heavy rain at Harrison to Hickson, crossing the dam. Here's 153, slowing traffic down over to Silverdale, paralleling 75 and heads up Ottawa and up toward Harrison, eventually Lakeside. Heavy downpours coming your way. And I've got noted the steering flow aloft. You can kind of see it faintly in the background here. It shows the steering flow at the what we call the 700 millibar level. That's the steering flow for storms. It kind of shows you how they're going to be moving, kind of at a northeast to easterly flow like that. That's what you're seeing in the background. That's where the storms will be moving. So the lift from these storms here starting to percolate a few isolated non-severe showers around Fort Payne, but there's that main line right there as it moves to the east. And I'll zoom out just a little bit more. Let me show you a broader view this way. This may show it better. Yeah. Here's what we're going to be watching. For the time being, between now and early evening, say between now and 8 o'clock Eastern, we're going to be dealing with this. Okay, this is for the early evening. We'll have to watch how far south a line flanks off of this from Paducah down to Memphis. Okay, so this is going to be between now and early evening. This would be late evening, say after 9 o'clock toward midnight, if that holds together. What we're having now may zap a lot of energy out, maybe. So this is more conditional. This is what we have ongoing. So that's what we're going to have between now and 8 o'clock, move through the viewing area on a scattered basis. The thing is, it's not a complete line like we typically see. So it's going to be on a scattered basis and kind of hit and miss where you're going to see the worst elements from that. But again, your main threats are damaging wind gust, heavy rain, and especially that lightning risk. We'll keep an eye on each tornado threat. We're always mindful watching that, but it's damaging wind gusts the main threat with these moving in. And there's that general movement. It's kind of moving more the whole complex of storms. This is kind of moving more east, and this is kind of more in this direction. Okay. Very similar pattern again tomorrow. It's not going to rain all day tomorrow. There'll be times you can do outdoor activities, but you get into late afternoon and evening, we got to watch these pieces of energy coming by, which could generate a few strong storms at times. So you'll see that thunderstorm symbol. If you look at the Storm Track 9 app or on our 7-day forecast, it does not represent a washout all day tomorrow. You can do your outdoor activities, but just be mindful. Stay alert, stay aware that storms could develop. Have that backup plan in the back of your mind so you'll know where to go fast. Like if you're out on the lake or something, or you're out by the pool, just know that you may scatter quickly with storms coming in. Or keep that Storm Track 9 app handy so you'll know when storms are developing and you can kind of get to safety before you get caught off guard. All right. And we'll be tracking these also for you tomorrow as well. So again, the two warnings out locally are severe thunderstorm warnings for the same line right here from Suwannee to South Pittsburgh. Actually, it's Marion County not under that warning, but you're under an advisory because you could have gusts up to 50. But keep in mind, they might expand that. Okay. The strongest of that line appears to be right here. Some of these gusts here from Scottsboro up to about Stevenson, approaching Stevenson, could have gusts upwards of 60 miles an hour. That's the reason why that warning is out. Maybe some penny-sized hail, but there's a lot of lightning with that. Heavy downpours of rain. This also causing some, the curved nature of it, some bursts of wind with that also that could reach severe levels. So at the very least, 40 to 50 mile an hour gust approaching portions of Marion County. Already some downpours in South Pittsburgh, not the severe part, but just to the west is as it moves on in. Farther back to the west, upstream a bit, there are no other warnings out there.
All right, 828, that's done.
No other warnings, but right along 65, some advisories with that. So we'll see again, does any of these storms take away energy from the others? It's a wait and see kind of thing as we watch that. New warning for Grundy County. Not a surprise here. That's that cell that's near Suwannee. So they just issued a severe thunderstorm warning with that cell at Suwannee to Mount Eagle, and now can move that right along into Grundy County. This is from the National Weather Service in Nashville. Okay. So Marion is the jurisdiction of National Weather Service Morristown. So this might change also. You know, storms don't stop at county lines. We know that. Okay. But that's why this warning is issued here. So again, this is the same warning for the same storm. We'll show you the future track coming up. This is out till 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern. This is for Coffee and Grundy County, Altamont, Grootly, Lager, Pelham, Tracy City under this warning. Wind gusts upwards of 60 miles an hour and quarter-size hail. Those meet the threshold of severe storms. That storm moving to the northeast at 35. And it's for the same area right here. I believe, is this one out for the same time frame? Probably going to, yeah, that's out to 5:15 Eastern, 4:15 Central. Let me reload the radar here for a second. We'll put the velocity scan real quickly. So that's a new warning out for Grundy County. Let me give you the expiration time one more time. That's out until 5:30 Eastern time across Grundy County. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, you can really see those. Look at those strong gusts in the southern Grundy County there. I don't like that. Right near Mount Eagle. So this is just above the surface. An estimation, you could have gusts upwards of 60. So that meets the threshold. So right around Mount Eagle, gust around 60. Some of that could have been some upslope there coming off the west side. And so some downslope to the east side. But this is going to cause some strong gusts towards Tracy City, Pelham, Colmont. Very strong gusts with that. Now this particular cell moving northeast at 35. Let's give you a quick track on that. Let me start over. Messed up. So heads up in Sequatchie County is that storm. You need to be watching this storm. It's right here near Suwannee, moving northeast. Suwannee, Mount Eagle, strong wind gusts. So Pelham, Colmont, Dunlap, Cagle. There's your expiration. There's your expiration time, or at least time over the next hour where it's going to be moving. Okay, folks, we're going to break away from this stream, but not our coverage. Our coverage is just changing streams. Okay, we're going to be on live in about the next 10 minutes on News Channel 9 at 5, 5:30, and 6. That's also starting at 4 o'clock. In the Central Time Zone, we'll be covering this storm you're looking at right there and all the other storms and all the threat levels throughout the evening. So join us on newschannel9.com. Click the live button for streaming, and we'll start our live stream there, and we'll resume our storm tracking on this live stream for social media coming up starting at 6:30 or just after 6:30 Eastern Time if necessary, if storms evolving. We're tracking this one and others. Join us again in 10 minutes on News Channel 9. Thanks for watching, everybody.